Hello class. We are going to learn a little bit about recording, using the quadratic function factoring sheet. I've updated it a little bit here so that things are a little more automated. As you can see here, this is where you enter all of your data. I've changed it so now you don't have to worry about N and M. All you have to do is input your values of A, B, and C. Once you input your values of A, B, and C for your quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c, then you can solve for your factors of C. Okay, first we're going to look at an example where we have a quadratic function where a is equal to 1, and then a quadratic function where a is greater than 1. Some of the rules: you should only enter data where you see yellow boxes. If you enter data in any of these areas where you see blue or reddish shaded areas, that will cause the spreadsheet to self-destruct. So please just stay within the yellow boxes. If for some reason you do type in those areas, just let me know and I can send you another version of this spreadsheet through Google Classroom. So let's look at an example of a quadratic function that needs to be factored. Let's say x squared plus 7x minus 144. So in this case, the coefficient for a is 1, as we said x squared. Then we set plus 7x, so b is 7. And minus 44 is c, minus 144 is c. So we put that in, minus 144. So, and here's our equation, x squared plus 7x minus 144. So what we need to find are factors of minus 144 such that the sum of those factors, g and h, will equal 7. So we need factors of, some combination of two numbers that every time you multiply them, they're equal to minus 144, but we want those unique, G and H combination such that when you multiply them together, they're equal to minus 144, but also when you add them together, they're equal to 7. So the way we do that is to go to this tab called Create Factors for C or AC. And we just click on this, and when we go there, you can see that our C factor has already been input for us. In the previous version of this spreadsheet, you had to put your numbers in here, but now I've designed it so that whenever you put your C value here, it's going to automatically be copied here. That way you don't have to type it in. Okay. So let's go back over here. So we go back to the tab where it says Create Factors for C. Again, the only areas where you should attempt to modify anything is where there are yellow boxes. If you type in the black boxes or in the shaded areas here, it will cause the spreadsheet to self-destruct. So again, just type in the yellow boxes. And so what we want to do here now is choose a value between 2 and 7. And the way this works is you attempt to divide the number here by the lowest possible number. Minus 1, 3 or 5 may go into minus 144, but we know since minus 144 is even, we know that 2 can be divided into it, So always pick the lowest number. And so in this case we'll pick 2. And you can see we have a factor here of 2 and minus 72. Now keep in mind, we want a factor that when you sum them together, the G and H together, they will be 7. Right now the two factors are 2 and minus 72. So when you multiply those two together, you do get minus 144, but when you add them together, you get minus 70. So we need to keep going. Let's go back. So you see we have two tables that show us where the summing is taking place, here and here, so we can see it in both places. So we're going back to the create factors table, and here we see our next number is minus 72. Again, we want to pick the lowest number that can go evenly into this number, so we're going to pick 2. And you see it created another factor here. 4 times minus 36 is minus 144, but the sum of these two is minus 32. Again, we want the sum of them to equal 7, so we need to keep going. So let's try 2 again. And here you see the sum is minus 10, so we want to keep going. Let's divide 2 into minus 18. We finally got it. So here's a factor where the product G times H is minus 144 and the sum is equal to 7. So that's 16 and H. So you see G is 16, H is minus 9. So let's go back to the factor quadratic function tab. And you see what we can do now is take that G value and stick it here and see if that does solve our equation. And you see a factored solution does pop up. So the solution to the factored solution that satisfies both of these conditions, where G times H equals minus 144 and G plus H equals 7, is X plus 16 and X minus 9, or X plus a negative 9. And so that's how you use the factoring spreadsheet. So let's look at an example where we have an A that's greater than 1. Now we haven't studied this yet, but I just want to show you that you can use this for a quadratic function where A is greater than 1. So it's 5x squared plus 28x plus 32. So we type 5, 32, I'm sorry, 5, 28, and 32. Okay, and you can see the function here, 5x squared plus 28 plus 32. And what you can see here now is when A is greater than 1, the information is logged in this table over here. And if you notice, the number here is 160 instead of 32, because whenever A is greater than 1, we don't want to just factor C, we want to factor AC, which is the product of A times C. And so that's why we have the 160 here. And we're looking for a value where the product of AC sums to 18. So let's just erase this. I'm sorry. We're looking for a factor where the product of 5 times 32, which is 160, sums to 28. Okay? So we need to go to our factor table. And again, we're not looking for 32 because A is greater than 1. And when A is greater than 1, we're looking for the factors of AC, which is A times C. So 5 times 32 equals 160. And we're looking for some where the G and H will equal 28. Alright, so let's go to the factor table. And you see we had left some of our factors here. And since we left those factors here, that's why we already have some values here. And as you can see, we already have a solution, and it's 8 and 20. Had we not had those factors there, let's just erase those. We would have started off again taking the lowest value that goes into 160, and you see it gives us those values here. Then we would have tried 2 again. It gives us these factors that sum to 40. We would have tried 2 again, and we would have gotten to this solution. So the solution where G and H sums to 28, our factors are 8 and 20. So we go back here, but this time we do not put in the values of 8 and 20. There's another procedure that we use to find the factored solutions. Whenever A is greater than 5, we use sort of a reverse distributive process. We'll talk about that when we get to that lesson. But I just want to give you 2 examples of how you could use this quadratic function factoring worksheet, and I wanted you to see how the updated version works. Now you do not have to put in values here. When you plug in your values for A, B, and C here, this value automatically gets populated. And so the only thing you have to do is come in here and put in your values for divisors that divide into these numbers that will allow you to get your factors. Okay, so if you have any more questions on this, please let me know. Hopefully this was helpful and will be helpful for you as you use this to do your factoring. Okay, take care.